Who remembers what chapter we're on? Chapter 23. What happened in the land of spells? The witch led the way to where the wishing chair stood waiting patiently on the edge of the cloud, its wings flapping gently. "That's a really wonderful chair of yours," she said. "I only wish I had one like it." They all sat in it. "To the land of spells," commanded the witch, and the chair at once rose into the air. It left the cloud and the curious castle built in the air and flew steadily to the north. "I'm very glad to have my wand back," said Witch Wendell. "Luckily it is only my third best one. If it had been my best one, the magic would have been so powerful that it would have shriveled Winks up as soon as he touched it." Molly and Peter at once made up their minds that they would never, never, never touch any wand belonging to a witch or a wizard. Goodness, what a blessing it had been that it was the witch's third best wand and not her best one. The chair flew on for a long while, and the witch pointed out the interesting places they passed. The village of Sillies, the country of No-Goods, the land of Try Again, and all kinds of places that the children had never heard of before. They stared down at them with interest. "What is the land of spells like?" asked Molly. "It's a strange land, really," said the witch. "All kinds of spells wander about, and they bump into you. Invisible spells to make you invisible, tall spells to make you tall, laughter spells to make you laugh. They only have to touch your arm, and they affect you at once." "Oh dear," said Molly in alarm. "I don't like the sound of that at all." "Well, you needn't worry," said Witch Wendell. "They only affect you while they bump into you, and as soon as they drift away, you're all right again. We shall have to look for a puff of smoke and detect a horrid smell, and then we shall know that we've got Winks and Pixie, and I must do my best to put them right for you." The chair flew rapidly downwards and landed in a very peculiar place. It was full of a green-blue mist, and strange sounds went on all the time, sounds of rumbling, sounds of music and bells, and of the wind blowing strongly. They got off the chair. "Now take hands," said the witch, "and keep together, please. You're all right so long as you're with me, because I am a mistress of all spells. But don't slip away, for goodness sake, or you may get changed into a white butterfly or a blue beetle, and I would find it difficult to know you again." Molly and Peter held hands very hard indeed, and Molly took the witch's hand too, and then all kinds of extraordinary things began to happen. A little trail of yellow bubbles bumped into Molly, and to Peter's great alarm, Molly's neck grew alarmingly long and shot up almost as tall as a tree. She was very alarmed too. "It's all right," said Witch Wendell. "It will pass as soon as the trail of bubbles goes." And she was right. When the bubbles flew off in another direction, Molly's neck came down to its right size. "Oh, you did look strange, Molly," said Peter. "Don't do that one again." It was strange to think of the spells wandering about like this. Molly began to look out for them and try to dodge them. She dodged a silvery mist, but it wound itself around Witch Wendell, and she at once disappeared completely. "Where's she gone?" cried Peter in fright. "I've still got hold of her hand," said Molly. "I think she's only invisible, but she's here all right." "Yes, I'm here," said the witch's voice. And as soon as the silvery mist cleared away, she became visible again and smiled down at the children. "I didn't see that spell coming, or I would have dodged it," she said. "Oh dear, here's an annoying one coming." Something that looked like a little shower of white snowflakes came dropping down on them. The witch changed into a big white bear, Peter changed into a white goat, and Molly changed into a white cat. That lasted about 2 minutes, and they were all very glad when they were back to their right shapes again. They went wandering through the queer, misty land, listening to the strange noises around them, trying to dodge the spells that came near them. The witch put out her hand and captured a little tiny spell floating through the air. It looked like a tiny white daisy. "I've always wanted that spell," she said to the children. "It's a good spell. If you put it under a baby's pillow, it makes the child grow up as pretty as a flower. Suddenly Peter stopped and sniffed. Whew! What a smell of bad fish, he said. I'm sure that must be Winks. Can you smell a horrid smell, Witch Wendell? Oh, I should think that I can, said the witch. And she took a small bottle out of her pocket and uncorked it. Come here to me, you bad little smell. Into this bottle you'll fit very well, she sang. And the children saw a very faint purplish streak streaming up into the bottle. The witch corked it up. Well, we've got Winks all right, she said. Now for Pixie. Look, here comes a puff of green smoke. Would that be him? Oh, yes, said Peter. I'm sure it is. He and Winks would be certain to keep together. The witch took a small pair of bellows from under her long flowing cloak and held them out over to the puff of green smoke which was hovering near. She opened the bellows and drew in the puff of smoke. She hung the bellows on her belt again. Now we've got Pixie, she said. Good. We'd better get them back home now and see what we can do with them. It's so easy to change people into bad smells and green smoke. Any beginner can do that. But it takes a powerful witch or wizard to change them back to their own shapes again. They walked back to find the wishing chair, still bumping into curious spells every now and again. Molly walked into a too big spell and immediately towered over the witch and Peter, but she went back to her own size almost at once. The witch bumped into a train of bright bubbles that burst as they touched her. When they looked at her, they saw that she had changed into a beautiful young girl, and they were amazed, but soon she was her old self again. "Oh, that was a nice spell," she said with a sigh. "I should like to have caught that spell and kept it." "Ah, is that the wishing chair?" "Yes, but there's only half of it," said Molly in surprise. "Oh, I see. It's just been touched by an invisible spell. It's coming all right again." Soon they were sitting in the chair. "To the children's playroom," commanded the witch, "and hurry, the puff of smoke in the bellows is trying to get out. We will lose Pixie forever if he puffs himself out and gets lost on the wind." "Oh dear," said Molly, "do hurry, wishing chair." The wishing chair hurried so much that the witch lost her hat in the wind and the chair had to go back for it. But at last they were flying down to the playroom and in at the door. Thank goodness. The witch got carefully out of the chair. She took the bellow from her jacket. "Is there a suit of Pixie's anywhere?" she asked. Molly got Pixie's second best suit from the cupboard. "Hold it up," said the witch. "That's right. Now, watch." Molly held up the little suit. The witch took the bellows and blew with them. Green smoke came from them and filled the little suit, billowing it out. And would you believe it? It was Pixie himself filling it out, growing arms and legs and a head, and there he was standing before them in his second best suit, looking rather scared after his curious stay in the land of spells. Then it was Winks's turn. The witch asked for the teapot and took off the lid. She uncorked the bottle in which she had put the bad smell, and she emptied it into the teapot and put on the lid. And then she lifted up the teapot and poured something out of the spout, singing as she did so, "Teapot, teapot, pour for me, a brownie naughty as can be. He's not as clever as he thinks, that wicked, willful little Winks." And before the children's astonished eyes, the teapot poured out Winks. He came out in a kind of a stream which somehow built itself up into Winks itself. When Winks saw Witch Wendell, he went very red in the face and tried to hide behind the sofa. And she pulled him out, saying, "Who stole my wand? Who changed Pixie into a puff of smoke?" "Well, he changed me into a bad smell," said Winks, beginning to sniff. "He at least used his own wand to do it with," said the witch. "Winks, I'm sending you back to Mr. Grimm's school. You have a lot to learn still." And Winks howled so loudly that Molly felt very sorry for him. "Oh, please," she said, "could he just stay with us until we go back to our boarding school? We might have another adventure, a nice one." "Very well," said Witch Wendell. "1 week more. Don't sniff like that, Winks. You bring all of your trouble onto yourself." "I'm sorry, Witch Wendell," wailed Winks. You'll be sorry till next time, and then you'll do something tiresome once more and be sorry all over again, said the witch. I know you, Winks. Well, goodbye, children. I'm very pleased to have met you, and by the way, may I sometime borrow that wishing chair of yours when you're at school? It would be such a treat for me to do my shopping in it sometimes. Oh, yes, please do, said Molly at once. It would be a nice return for all of your help. You'll have to go to Pixie's mother to borrow it when we're at school. He keeps it there. Thank you, said the witch, and off she went. Pixie turned to Winks. We were silly to quarrel like that, he said. I'm sorry I turned you into a bad smell, Winks. Go and wash. I think you still smell a little bit horrid. And so he did, and it was 2 or 3 days before he smelled just like a brownie again. You really just can't meddle with spells, you know. And when we read again together next, it will be chapter 24, The Island of Surprises.